Today, I'm going to show you how to run a marathon in just 16 weeks. This video covers every single tip, trick, and hack for the 26.2 mile challenge. I'll even throw in the full plan for free. I'll leave it in the description. Alright, let's set some baselines. In order to start this plan, you must already be capable of running a 10k. So if you're not there already, go check out this video up top, which will find you the quickest way to get there. Okay, let's get into it. This plan will consist of 16 weeks, with each week getting slightly harder, not only to improve your fitness, but also to build mental resilience. During the plan, we'll go through 5 different phases. These are base, build, peak, taper, and race. So let's jump to the start to see what's going on under the hood of this plan. Here's the first week of training. Let me run you through each of the sessions and give reason to why they're placed where they are. I don't want to bore you with the list of every exercise, rep, and set that's included. Instead, I'll just leave the exact contents of all the sessions in the free plan. So, starting with Monday morning, we have 1,000 meter intervals and full body strength. These interval sessions are great for getting us used to running at faster speeds. They improve our tolerance to lactate and help out our running economy. They should feel pretty difficult as we'll be picking up the pace here. You might be wondering why strength is part of a marathon plan. It's actually because it's really beneficial for improving our running form and our endurance, so I've ensured to include it in here. Monday's strength session works a variety of leg muscles, aiming to improve the general strength and power output of our legs. There's also some plyometrics and upper body exercise for even development. Notice that there's an AM session and a PM session. This is to avoid the running and strength interfering with each other. As I outlined in another video, 6 hours minimum is the most effective time between running and strength sessions. Seeing as a Monday was a pretty full-on day, we've got a nice shakeout on Tuesday. These easy runs are a staple in this marathon prep. They help us to achieve the 80-20 rule. This ensures that 80% of our training is kept at an easy rate to help build our aerobic base. This is actually because it helps us run faster. You've probably heard the phrase run slow to run fast, and that's exactly what this aims to achieve. To make these runs easy, just run at a pace where you can have a conversation. The other 20% is saved for higher intensity activity like the intervals mentioned on Monday. Again, I won't give the exact heart rate ranges here to avoid making this video 7 hours long. All that's in the plan. Moving on to Wednesday, we have yet another strength session. As a good rule of thumb, we want to hit each muscle group twice per week for optimal adaptation. This will include some slightly different exercises, but the main compound movements will still be present to allow for progression. Thursday is another shakeout run, and Friday is a rest day in preparation for the big day tomorrow. Saturday is a key day in the marathon plan. This long run will slowly increase over time and will be a good estimation of your progress so far. Sunday is a nice reset day to prepare for another week doing the exact same thing. The weekly structure is the same all the way through the base phase, but there is one small change that happens on a weekly basis. It gets slightly harder. Just how we'd progress in the gym, we should also aim to progress with the runs. I've achieved this in the plan by slowly increasing the volume by no more than 10% on a weekly basis. This slight bump is just enough to promote recovery while reducing risk of injury. Phases 1 and 2 focus on this exact principle. So what's different in phase 3, the peak phase? Here the goal is to really build the mileage. This is the toughest phase of the plan, and there's a new type of session included. These are race pace runs. Essentially, these runs help us to get used to our target race pace. If you don't already know your race pace, here are some guides that you can use based on your 5k max effort. If you don't know this time, swap one of your interval sessions on the Monday for a 5km PB attempt and try keep a consistent pace throughout. Anyways, let's give those rough estimates. For a 20-minute 5k, you'd be looking at a 3:35 marathon. For 25 minutes, that'd be around 4:20. And for 30 minutes, that'd be around 5 hours. If you're anywhere in between those examples, just give yourself a best estimate. This doesn't have to be 100% accurate. So to figure out your target pace from there, just plug your time into a converter. I'll leave a link in the description. And remember, if you are finding the video useful so far, drop me a like. Alright, so now you know your estimated finish time, we can now use that in our race pace runs. As you can see, in the first week of the peak phase, the week now looks a little different. This is because we want to be mimicking the race as much as we can in these last few weeks. If your race is hilly, start getting out into the hills. If it's flat, then you're just lucky. This is also where we can start to get our race nutrition on point. I like to keep things really simple. I just take an energy gel every 30 minutes when performing any run over an hour. Just find one that works for you. I like to use High Five. I'll pair these with my running vest where I'll carry about a litre of water. You should start to test different gels and nutrition strategies around this point. Mine will work as a good starting point, but everybody is a little bit different. Okay, now about the training. The race pace runs have infected the week, even making their way into the long runs. So what happens here is we have parts within the long run where we'll be running at race pace and they're followed by periods of rest. Again, it's pointless saying the exact structure of the run in this video because it'll all be in the plan in the description. But before you go have a look at that, let me run you through phases 4 and 5. I've also got 3 special tips at the end for you. So phase 4, aka the taper phase, is a very nice place to be. All the hard work is done and now you're just getting used to your body being fully rested. So what happens in the taper? In the first week, the volume is cut in half and we're only doing easy and race specific runs. This is for recovery and mimicking the race. The second week, the volume drops by half again, so there's very little training this week. By the end of the taper, you'll be bursting, ready to stride it out. It's so important that you keep yourself dialed in and hold back that temptation. You know you've effectively tapered when this is the case. Okay, moving on to the final phase, race week. The moment you have finally been waiting for. All the hard work is about to be paid off. So what happens here? Like the previous taper week, we want minimal volume. Things are a little different this week. We've only got 1 strength session. This just helps to remove any interference, but it's still present because you don't want to fully throw you off before the race. Notice on Thursday we encounter the carb loading process, and you might have seen this phrase thrown around before. Unlike popular belief, it's not an excuse to eat whatever you want, it's actually a crucial part of the marathon plan. Basically, our muscles store energy, and over the last few weeks they've been lost, regained, and just been all over the place. The carb load ensures our muscles are topped off with energy so that when race day comes, we have our best shot at getting a PB. So here, keep it simple. Eat foods like pasta, bread, rice, and oats. Just prioritize carbs. Don't overindulge just because you're having a carb load. We don't want to be full on the start line. Okay, Sunday, the big day. This is finally it. Marathon day has come and we're ready to get that PB. So this is a good time to give you some tips for race day. And preparation actually starts the day before with a high carb meal. Like your mum always said, get everything ready the night before to reduce friction on the day. Aim to get that golden 8 hours sleep and try calm the nerves. Once you've awoken and realised you've only slept 3 hours because you panicked all night, it's time for more carbs yet again. My go-to on race day is a bowl of porridge with banana, peanut butter and honey. Try get plenty of water in here as well. We're also going to grab some Imodium and we'll get into that later. Also, some safety pins so you can attach your number to yourself, as some events don't actually supply them, which is weird. When you arrive, go join the likely huge queue of people that have been holding their bowels in all morning. This determines if the day is going to be great or really bad. Now it's time to pop that Imodium so you don't have an accident halfway through. By now, you should have got on about 2 litres of water in your system. But what about nutrition during the race? You have 2 approaches. You either use your plan that you've developed in training and use your own nutrition, this is recommended, or do what I did and throw all of that out the window and just see what's lying around at the aid stations. This method does work and you don't have to carry anything with you, but just remember to sip the water instead of neck it, otherwise you'll get a stitch. But if you want to play it safe, use the approach you've been used to in training. So how should you approach the actual running part? In an ideal world, we want a negative split. This is where we speed up as the race progresses. So to start, run the first 5 kilometers slightly slower than your race pace. This is so we have more energy for when it counts. After that 5k, creep up your pace to the target you estimated, and once you hit the halfway point, you should be running at race pace or even slightly above to get back that missing time. From here, it's smooth sailing. It is all down to you. It will get progressively harder until you hit somewhere around 18 miles, and then it'll be the worst pain of your life. I'm not going to make it sound easy because it's not. Suck it up and just hold that pace. After those incredibly motivating words, you'll find yourself on the finish line with a shiny medal to show for it. Alright, now let me give you these 3 golden tips. Number 1, get a shoe fitting. This is vital and will reduce so much unwanted injury down the line. Don't exceed the 10% volume rule, otherwise you'll end up injured like I did. 3. Make sure to do your strength training. Do not neglect this. Alright, that is all. If you do want to check out the free plan, the link is in the description. I hope it gives you a clear direction for your first marathon prep, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, if you want to take a deeper dive into why the slow runs make us run faster, just check out this video here. Good luck.